Shalom and greetings in the name of Yahwah, the only name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. Therefore, I pledge allegiance to Yahwah Almighty, who has blessed the constitutional republic of the United States, and to that republic for which those gorgeous red, white, and blue stars and stripes stand, one nation, under our only one God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, as we read each week, Psalm 33 and 12. I'm reading from a complete Jewish Bible, and it states, "How blessed is the nation whose God is Yahwah, the people he chose as his heritage." Well, that don't say that. That says Lord. Well, in your KJV it says Lord. In fact, in the complete Jewish Bible they use Adonai. This is incorrect. Maybe you didn't know that. It's an uppercase Adonai written in all uppercase letters, just like your KJV is an uppercase Lord in all uppercase letters. But somebody, or maybe several somebodies, I'm not sure exactly yet, probably the first hate group that ever existed. You know that verse that talks about in Deuteronomy, it says, "For those that hate me"? That was the first hate group. Those that hate the name of our God, Yahweh. They hate it. That's the first hate group. That's a shame. Because the first commandment says, well, what do you think it says? Most of you are probably going to say, well, it says, "You shall have no other gods before me." Well, you got part of it right. Because there's a little bit of a verse before that that's part of it. Because you're saying, "You shall have no other gods before me." Who's the me? Who's it talking about? You probably never thought about it before, did you? But if you look at the previous verse, it's very plain. The very first commandment is the Almighty speaking. And he says, "I am Yahweh your God. You shall have no other gods before me." Therefore, the me is identified as Yahweh. Simple. Humans have removed his name, and who had the right to do that? So, we've got this verse that says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is Yahweh," but it goes on to say the people he chose as his heritage. Now, we would think at first that this could be any nation whose God is Yahweh. But I only know of one nation that's named by the name of God, but they don't say his name. And they have a reason for saying it, because they don't believe that they should speak his name in vain, because it might be blasphemous. But that's not what his word says. His word says declare his name. It says declare his name. It says praise his name. It says speak, call upon his name. In the last days especially, that's Joel 2:32. All they that call upon Yahweh in the last days shall be saved. So how can you call on somebody that you can't say his name? Now, they're talking about you just don't use it as a byword. You just don't use it as an empty word. You don't take it for nothing. You don't take his name in vain. So, Israel, the 12 tribes that Yahweh established in that land over there, that some of y'all disagree with, that's their land. And those boundaries are found in Scripture. It's not hard to find. Just look it up. Simple. It tells you all there where how their land was divided to the 12 tribes. But he told them before they went in, he said, "Now look," he said, "I'm going to give you this land." He said, "But you got to drive everybody out of there. And I'm not giving you this land because of your righteousness. I'm giving you this land because the people there are so wicked." And he furthermore told them, he said, "If you don't drive them out, they're going to be thorns in your flesh." You know, I just had a thought. You know, there's word that talks about putting that wicked one out from among you, doesn't it? There's about 5 or 6 different things that's named in the writings why you put someone out of your midst, out of the midst of the congregation. He says, put them out. And what happens? Looks like they just kind of stay there and stay there. And it's like that thing breeds itself with evil. That's why they got him out of there. Would you have someone come into your home with your small children who did not want to live right? They just wanted to live the way they wanted to live. They just wanted someplace to hang their hat and have something to eat and a bed to sleep in. They don't care nothing about living right. I wouldn't want to bring somebody in my home. Now, I've had lots of people in my home over many, 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 many years. I've had people stay with me, but these people wanted to live something. They wanted deliverance from all their ugliness. You know, there's a letter in the Olive Bait. Here I am. Hadn't even started reading. I'm already running rabbit trails. They're good rabbit trails. There's a letter in the Hebrew called the Bait. Okay, the bait has a odd little shape. And it's if you look at some of the ancient script, the bait is like the house. But it's not just any house, and they didn't build their, of course, they didn't really build houses. They had tents. And their tents weren't just where you could just open it up and just walk straight in and see everything there. Oh, no, no, no. They had, like, when you walk in, it's like another kind of a veil. And you had to go from right to left. This gives your house protection. In other words, the house that Yahweh has given to me is not for somebody hanky-pankying around and doing stupidness and willfully, deliberately sinning and playing like you're a saint and when you're really a haint. My own children couldn't stay here if they felt like they needed to live a certain way when they got old enough to where they could move out. Because I don't want that thing spreading to the other children. And they weren't just children. I'm talking about these were 17, 18 years old children. 17, they had to stay with me. 18, if you can't live by the rules of God that we live by, which they wanted to, they had a desire to want to, but the pull, look, moms, the pull on this life pulls and works on you day in, day out. And it can do the same thing to you, Mom. You better watch it. It could do the same thing to me if I let it. That's what set apart means. Separate yourself. Separate your children. And then you end up sending your children with a group of people who are act like a bunch of perverted people and do things that are totally contrary to Scripture. I'm speaking of homosexuality. And you know it. And it's in the Word. It's in Romans. Lovers of their own selves. Lovers of their own kind. Doing that which is unseemly. It's an abomination. What's an abomination? It's something that Yahweh hates. So, Mom, let me share something with you. Did you know that the most expensive, exclusive plants that you grow and nurture up are kept in a sheltered environment where the outside bad weather can't get to it? So, Mom, I encourage you to train your children up in the way that they go, in the way that they should go, so that when they're old, they won't depart from the way. You know, I have seen and watched women over the years, and they've actually confessed it's easier to go work a 9-to-5 job than it is to take care of your children. Why? Is it because you haven't shown them enough attention and they've gone berserk and they've gone wild because they need your attention? Especially when they're a teenager. Especially when they're a teenager, they need you all the more. They need Yahweh to be their friend. They need Mom to be their friend. And everybody needs to be Yahweh's friend. All right. Been praying about something to go to. And the Holy Spirit of Yahweh directed me this morning to Psalm 69. And I'll be reading from a complete Jewish Bible. And this is kind of a heart-wrenching. These are heart-wrenching passages is what they are. It's like the depths of David. And this was before he, I don't think he had committed his sin with Bathsheba at that time. I'm really not sure. I tried to search this out to find it. And I really couldn't find any documented specific what brought on this prayer, this communication with Yahweh in the 69th chapter. I couldn't find anything concrete. But I want you to put yourself in this writer's place. Because in the days that we live, there are many people being pressed sore in the spirit, either in grief or losing children or having problems in their home with spouses, with children, with older children, with moms and dads. I don't know. But it kind of tends to want to put you in the wrong frame of mind. And the only way to get out of the wrong frame of mind is pray. Now that word pray sounds like just like an everyday word. But there's a depth of communication on your face in sobbing and tears. I call them snot-slinging tears. Snot-slinging prayer is what I call it. I call it snot-slinging intercessory prayer. That's exactly what I call it for years. So when I need strength, I get strength on my face. And He has met with me time and time and time again in my most grievous times. And I've even had to separate myself from people I really didn't want to separate from, but I was finding myself become too comfortable with gray areas that never should be. And this is where we need to stay. It's not that you don't think you're better than somebody else. It's not that. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. But my flesh is no different than anybody else's. And I want to hide in the secret of His tabernacle. In the secret of His tabernacle, He shall hide me. And He shall set me upon a rock. And now shall my head be lifted up above my enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in His tabernacle sacrifices of praise, sacrifices of joy. I will sing praises unto Yahweh. Okay, let's get into Psalm 69, Tehillim, 69, verse 1. I'm reading from a complete Jewish Bible. This is good. I'll probably end up doing this in a couple of parts, but it says, "For the leader set to lilies," whatever lilies, it must be a song by David. And it says, "Save me, God, for the water threatens my life. I am sinking down in the mud, and there is no foothold. I have come into deep water. The flood is sweeping over me." This is how David felt. He was going through something treacherous in his mind, and it's not necessarily in the natural, but it could be the natural. Reading on. "I am exhausted from crying. My throat is dry and sore. My eyes are worn out with looking for my God. Those who hate me for no reason outnumber the hairs on my head. My persecutors are powerful. My enemies accuse me falsely. Am I expected to return things I didn't steal?" Whoa, did you hear that? He's pouring out his petitions before the Almighty. This is what we do. We enter His gates with thanksgiving. We enter His courts with praise. Then we ask Him to cleanse us and forgive us of anything that we've said or done or thought, and presumptuous sins. And then we move right on through and enter His gates with thanksgiving and praise and a song. And then we enter into, Yahweh, I praise you, and you go from the praise into, I need to speak with you. I am so in the depths of despair. This is where He's at. Psalm 69:5, those who hate me for no reason outnumber the hairs of my head. My persecutors are powerful. My enemies accuse me falsely. Am I expected to return things I did not steal? God, you know how foolish I am. My guilt is not hidden from you. You know his guilt is nothing's hidden from him. Nothing. We might think we might make excuse, but nothing is hidden from the Almighty. Next verse. Let those who put their hope in you, Adonai Yahweh Zevaot, not be put to shame through me. Let those who are seeking you, God of Israel, not be disgraced through me. In other words, he's going through stuff. Don't let other people suffer like me. That's what he's praying. For your sake, I suffer insults. Shame covers my face. I am estranged from my brothers and alien to my mother's children, because zeal for your house is eating me up, and on me are falling the insults of those insulting you. I weep bitterly and I fast, but that too occasions insults. In other words, he's praying and fasting. Somebody's making fun of him. You know, they did my husband the same way. You know, some people might have thought that they were being cute, you know, comical. And look, my husband was very, very sick at one time. Many years ago, Yahweh healed him of it. He had all the symptoms of lymph-glandular cancer. And he had growths on his throat. He had to move over to swallow. He had a huge growth in his armpit where he had no armpit. And he refused to go see a physician. He sought the chief physician, Yahweh Almighty. And he went a natural health route, changed his diet. And it took him a year to feel good. A year to feel good now. And he went ultra strict with the way that he ate and everything that he drank. He used to say that Yahweh gives us the good of the land, not the good of the can, okay? But that's how strict he was and how determined he was that Yahweh could use this if he was smart with the way he ate. We are what we eat. We tear down our own health by what we put in it, okay? I'm not going to get off on that, but I need to get myself back in line here. It took him a year to feel good. And Yahweh raised him up and healed him. And he stuck with that. But people would make fun of him. And they knew he was strict. And if it had one ingredient that wasn't good, he wouldn't eat it. And this is for something cooked. He would ask people, of course, you know, he ate anything that I cooked because I knew how to cook for him. But some people who thought they cooked strict, they weren't strict enough for him. And so he would ask them, well, what's in it? What's in it? And so finally they just kind of came in one day and he was eating whatever it was that I made for him. And they brought him in a raw carrot. A raw carrot. And they just laid it down in front of him. And they thought they were being cute and comical. But they were not as sick as he was. And they thought it was funny. But it wasn't funny. He laughed, of course, because, you know, he just took it in stride. It didn't bother him. But I thought, people just really don't know. Because I remember he would tell, if you've ever been really, really, really sick unto death, you wouldn't mock and make fun of someone. You'd be thankful that they straightened things up, straightened up their eating habits, and got strict. You know, you can heal yourself naturally if you haven't gone too far overboard. And you seek Yahweh, Yahweh will give you a menu, and he will help you beat that thing. Unless it's your time to go. I can't say, because it's appointed unto man once to die, and after that the judgment. So I don't know whose appointment is when, only he knows. So he's weeping. I weep bitterly and fast, but that too occasions insults. That's what prompted me to tell you that story. You know, he was fasting and praying, and people made fun of him. I'll tell you one thing. The man went on a 40-day fast with just water because Yahweh dealt with him and led him in that direction. And he told everybody, I don't encourage anybody to do this unless the Almighty puts you on a fast like that. I've only known 2 men in my lifetime of 71 years that has fasted 40 days with just water. And I saw my husband move in a place in the Spirit that I have never seen. He had a powerful, powerful gift. But even that, he said, I know people are looking at me like he looked like a third world orphan is what he looked like, because he had gotten whittled down to, and he was only about between 5'10" and 5'11", and he whittled down to almost a lot. But after a while, his weight kind of pretty much stayed the same. But my children and I asked them, they were at home here. They were all older teenagers. And I said, I want to fast the last 3 days of Daddy's 40-day fast. I said, y'all want to do it. Don't feel obligated to do it. And if you can't get through it, don't do it. But I want to do this. So the 4 of us, we fasted the last 3 days with Jerry. And it did a lot for all of us. All right, let's read on here. Psalm 69:12. I clothe myself with sackcloth and become an object of scorn. This is talking about what he does in his fasting. The gossip of those sitting by the town gate, the theme of drunkards' songs. As for me, Yahweh, let my prayer to you come at an acceptable time. In your great grace, God, answer me with the truth of your salvation. Rescue me from the mud. Don't let me sink. Let me be rescued from those who hate me and from the deep water. Don't let the floodwaters overwhelm me. Don't let the deep swallow me up. Don't let the pit close its mouth over me. He's desperate. Are you desperate? Do you want deliverance? Get on your face and get desperate for the Almighty. Cry out that snot-slinging intercessory prayer. He hears and answers. Reading on. Answer me, Yahweh, for your grace is good. In your great mercy, turn to me. Don't hide your face from your servant, for I am in trouble. Answer me quickly. Come near to me and redeem me. Ransom me because of my enemies. You know how I am insulted, shamed, and disgraced. Before you stand all my foes. All of his enemies are standing before him. Insults have broken my heart to the point that I could die. I hoped that someone would show compassion, but nobody did, and that there would be comforters, but I found none. Did you know that you could be somebody's answer to prayer? Just by keeping your prayer life and your relationship close and asking Yahweh to be sensitive to you, to be sensitive to another's needs. Do you know that He will do just that? I can't tell you how many times that has happened to me and my husband over these last 49 years for me. My husband died 8 years ago, but the same for him. But he goes on, he says he found nobody. There was nobody that had any compassion. They put poison in my food. In my thirst, they gave me vinegar to drink. Let their dining table before them become a snare. When they are at peace, let it become a trap. Let their eyes be darkened so that they can't see. Let their bodies always be stumbling. Pour out your fury on them. Let your fierce anger overtake them. This is what he's talking about, his enemies. He's asking Yahweh to deal with his enemies. He can't take this. It's day in, day out. It's coming from all sides. He doesn't know how he can do it. And you better watch that too. You better watch out for that when things are closing in on you. And that depression goes from depression to oppression to possession, to where that thing drives you to commit suicide. You better weigh that out. You better run for that. Run from it. Run, run, run. Yahweh is not in suicide. You become a murderer of life that you did not give yourself. Yahweh's reaching for somebody. Yahweh's reaching for somebody. You wish you could die. That's not going to do any good. Where will you end up? It's appointed unto man once to die, after that the judgment. It's not no soul sleep. There's a judgment. It's a place of comfort or it's a place of discomfort. Choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. And look, we're going to face things on this journey. When we're living for Him, we're going to face things. But there's one thing about it. I, for myself, can answer for me. Yahweh has given me strength on my face before Him. And this is all I can share with you. He'll do the same for you. He is not a respect of person. Let the place where they live be desolate, with no one to live in their tents. He's talking about his enemies. For persecuting someone you had already stricken, for adding to the pain of those you wounded. Did you wound somebody? Did you go back and wound them some more? Physically? Did you do it with your tongue? Whoa. Add guilt to their guilt. Don't let them enter your righteousness. Erase them from the book of life. Let them not be written with the righteous. You know that? Did you know that you can have your name written, blotted out of the book of life? Did you know that? You can. You can go and keep sinning and running and running and running from Yahweh. He deals with you and deals with you and deals with you. I don't know how long He will deal with someone. I know His mercies endure forever and ever, but do you keep willfully sinning? You got to stop that. You don't willfully sin. You don't say, oh, forgive me, and turn around and do the same thing again willfully. You don't do that. I know when you turn from sin and you get filled, there's a difference in God being with you and God being in you. That Spirit in you gives you power over temptation if you let it. If you're clinging to Him with all that you got, He's not going to let you be tempted with more than what you're able to be tempted with. You can take a whole lot more than what you think. We just don't give in over every little teeny whim. We can't do it. We got to run. Run from sin. Run from transgression. Don't put yourself in the middle of it. That's what's wrong now, this backward psychology where they say, oh, go in the middle of them. No, you don't. The most expensive and most exclusive plants are grown in a hothouse, in one of those protected greenhouses where they're sheltered from malicious weather. Think. You don't go anywhere in darkness unless the Almighty Yahweh speaks to you. And then you better watch it. Look, when you deal with people over the years, you better be making sure that you're hidden totally, not even a toenail in sin. That's what my husband used to say. Not even a toenail in sin. You better run. You don't give in to that stuff. You don't let everything come through your ear gate. You don't let that wicked hard rock music and filthy music enter your ear gate. You don't put perversion and evil before your eyes. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. Look, that's more than what you think. We think wicked. We think really bad. If you break that wicked down, that word wicked down from the Hebrew, it don't mean just what we think is just filthy perversion and stinking rotten evil perversion of every kind. It means anything that you give your eye gate and ear gate to that is not profitable to your soul. So next time you look at something, or you allow your children to look at anything, Mom, watch what they're watching. What kind of ideal is presented behind that they're looking at? Is that promoting any kind of righteousness? Or is that promoting evil? Is it promoting promiscuity? Look, this is summertime. My husband used to say, I'd rather be hot now and cold later. Everybody gets halfway naked and all the way naked, wearing nothing but a few pieces of string in the summertime at the beach. Look, we swam in our clothes. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We swam in our clothes. That's crazy. I don't care. You're not my judge, but my daddy in heaven is. I didn't want to wear swimming suits anymore. When he filled me with his Spirit, he filled me with modesty. Not what you think, not what I think. Yahweh's even got a dress code. That apparel, modest apparel, is a long, loose dress, ladies, if you look it up. It's a long, loose robe. Well, men need to wear them robes. I'm not teaching the men. I'm teaching you how to be a modest vessel, a modest keeper, a modest guard at home. There's a lot in this, ladies. May Yahweh richly encourage y'all to seek Him while He might still be found. Shalom.